Hello, 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 hello. I want to say happy Tuesday to everyone. If you're watching here live, this is our weekly live Q&A that I like to make available to parents and student athletes. Literally just got off the phone uh, probably 2 minutes ago. Going to share some things that I don't usually share. Before I get started, everyone that's watching, if you could just throw me a thumbs up, like just literally right now, stop what you're doing, go over to YouTube, go over to X, just show me that you're here. Ben, thank you so much. Shanian, I probably did not pronounce that properly. Jake, Jeff, thank you and welcome. New members, Keith, thank you very much. Members into the new YouTube membership. Uh, Want to say thank you to those that are taking advantage of the membership and asking questions and setting up calls and so forth. Want to remind everyone, Tuesday evenings, free. We just do our live membership Q&A, live ProLine Q&A, where I talk about topics that are prevalent and on everybody's minds and try to answer and paraphrase a lot of questions. Again, this is for you as parents, so I encourage you to send in your questions. I have a whole bunch that we're going to cover here tonight. You know what? I don't have a lot of whiteboards. I don't have a lot of technology. I see a lot of people in a whatever space, recruiting space, or everybody knows somebody that knows something about something, and they have all this B-roll and all that. I don't have anything flashy. I don't have a magic wand, but I am going to learn a little trick tonight that I am going to share with you as parents. So first, I want to encourage any parent or student athlete. If you're the graduate of a 2025 or 2026, even a 2027, then we're going to cover a lot of ground for you tonight. I want parents to understand, yes, you have the ability to rewatch the video, but it's always good to kind of take some pens, paper, get those out, ask those questions when they hit you. To try to send me a DM or something later, you might forget whether it's a specific topic or on something I'm covering. So, write something down, take notes, and then obviously fire me off an email. Membership. A lot of people ask me about membership and what I did. I canceled everybody's membership on YouTube a few weeks back. They were $4.99, $9.99. And what I decided to do is, rather than having a website where I have courses and I have audio books and I have paperback and hardcover and I have consulting and I have evaluation, one tight little package that you can get. It's $20 per month. That's it. Period. End of story. Get you an out evaluation. We talk on the phone anywhere from 30 to 90 minutes. We discuss where you're at, things you need to work on, where I see you as a current student athlete with regard to channels of opportunity above with regard to college. You have access to my courses, which are for all age groups, courses for children, courses for little leaguers, courses for those that want to and aspire to play high school, courses for college recruiting, everything and anything to do with college recruiting. Also in the membership area, all the audio books. That's just being added. Any book, whether it's the process, recruiting process, the shift, anything beyond the bleachers, audio books, you get access to them as members. We're going to be having member-only webinars, which will have college coaches on them. We'll be able to talk with the college coaches, answer questions, obviously generic in nature. We're going to have major leaguers, former major leaguers, major league coaches, former major league coaches. I hope to have Brett Saberhagen on to kick off my pitching seminar. So all that is $20 a month. That's what the membership is. Whether you're a college, potential college transfer, whether you're somebody looking for a JUCO, going to a four-year school, high school athletes, etc., $20 per month. Now, we move on. Now, tonight, I am going to start by telling you, parents, you cannot possibly make heads or tails of all of this settlement talk. all the legal eagles. They share with us via various social media platforms their opinions and most importantly, their interpretations. Let me break this down as simply and succinctly as I can. There are three main issues with regard to the settlement. Number one is the DSA, or the grandfathering of those student athletes that would be cut or would be released from their scholarship due to roster cut limits. The judge wants a grandfathering clause. The NCAA does not. Standoff number one. Number two, name, image, and likeness is creating a very large disparity between the Power Four. Now, we're going to enter in a new term tonight. The Power Four, which are now affectionately the Southeastern Conference, the ACC, the Big 12, and the Big 10. Well, the G5 sounds like a economic forum, but the G5 are essentially the other Division I conferences, the CAA, Mountain West, those types of conferences. They are basically saying this is not fair. We are creating an unfair landscape. What's essentially going to happen is we're going to have a professional division, the P4, and they're going to poach all of the G5 athletes as they grow. And there's a disparity with regard to name, image, and likeness. And we cannot possibly play in that pool. We don't have the television contracts. We don't have the resources. And it's unfair to our Olympic athletes. And Olympic athletes is all those student athletes, men's and women's, that play non-revenue generating sports. It would be unfair for us to try and keep up with the Joneses. And so that is something that's going to really skew the talent pool with regard to trying to compete for national championships in all sports. And the last is litigation. So these three topics are where parents should be focusing their time, meaning the Power Four versus the G5, the roster cuts, whether they're going to be grandfathered in or it's going to be one big Band-Aid rip and all done at once. And then lastly, here that we're talking about now is with regard to athletes that are looking, the portal. There is no guidelines. And so therefore, Tommy Tuberville, former Auburn football coach, Senator Machine, they have sponsored a bill where we're going to get into the ethics of college athletics and whether these are student athletes or employees. Those are the three big boy topics. And parents, if you try to go deeper down the rabbit hole, with regard to the last point that I just mentioned, employees or student athletes. Okay, the bigger question and the biggest foundational point for that topic is litigation. The NCAA is trying to get a one and done settlement to be, removed from all future and further litigation, but that's not going to happen. Now, some of you parents are sending me, there are two injunctions that are live. One is the Diego Pavia, the quarterback for Vanderbilt, and another is a former, I believe, Rutgers UNLV football player. Also, I believe it's Eldon, is being kind of similar to the Pavia, where the name, image, and likeness, is restricted because of the junior college year. Here's where we are with regard to baseball and softball. Here's where we are. One, 95% of all high school athletes are never going to deal with these issues. For those of you that are high school athletes and you're in the 2025 class and you've already received a scholarship, I believe at the end of the day, two things are going to happen. One, you're simply going to be told there's no room at the inn, don't come to campus. Or two, you're going to be given the opportunity to go in the fall and compete for a roster spot. The roster cap of 34, I believe, is definitely going to be the number. I believe that's going to be a number that every coach that I speak with or chat with or email with has basically said they feel that's a foregone conclusion. Now, if you are a 26 or 27, I want to say a couple things. First, I'll start with the class of 27. August 1st is not what you think it is. We've talked about this before, but even more so than ever before, August 1st is going to be highly selective. Again, I encourage you to go back and watch this video that I'm going to put up here with regard to the tier system. Division I athletics, NCAA, NAIA, and JUCO Division I. And when I say JUCO Division I mean Pearl River, Blinn, LSU Eunice, San Jacinto, Chipola. I could rattle them all off, but those Division I programs are elite talented athletes, meaning you have to have a present MLB evaluated skill set. Extremely fast runner, extremely skilled defensive player, extremely power hitter, an extreme power hitter, a middle of the order bat, preferably left-handed, right-handed, elite skilled hitter, fielder, have a very strong arm, have 3 tools, pitchers, any pitcher that is throwing 92 to 93 and above that can control and command 2, preferably 3 pitches, you're going to be in the Division I discussion. Name, image, and likeness at the NCAA level may and probably will be applicable to you. Same with NAIA, and I'm going to get to that in a second. And obviously, recruitment with JUCO is going to be there as well. All other athletes in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 are going to be Division II NCAA, which is extremely challenging. Talked to East Stroudsburg University head coach today. John was really a great resource with regard to NCAA Division II. And on that topic for parents, let's make one thing very clear at this juncture. NCAA Division II and NCAA Division III have nothing to do with the settlement, nothing, zero, zip. There will be fallbacks that come down from Division I, but they are going to go to the Division II level or Division III if there is a strong academic area of interest. You'll start to see junior colleges load up with some of the fallbacks that maybe high school 25s or high school 26s that were recruited by high level Division I schools will get placed or get rerouted to some of the junior colleges, which brings me to our NCAA Division III and our NAIA Division II schools. For those parents that are writing or sharing comments with me with regard to maybe that's the best entry or pathway for their athletes with regard to playing sooner, that is just, it's not the case. And the sooner we as a group begin to understand, I know there's a lot of people in my space. I have one parent sent me something that was posted on a platform that said, you know, contact me, I'll get you placed in 5 days. Now I have to ask you, if you're a parent, are you really going to be able to, is an 18 or 19-year-old going to be able to make a 40-year caliber decision in a few days on where they're going to school? Is that what we've come down to? The whole proverbial square peg in the round hole, or the round peg in the square hole? We need to call a big time out and understand that settlement probably is not going to be applicable to the high school guys. The elite ones, the elite athletes going to the P4 schools, yes, but the G5 schools, the CAA, you know, we've heard from Matt Tyner, we've heard from Mick Ioki at Richmond, We talked to some of these, mid-major schools. They're not going to play in that pool. That's going to be that name, image, and likeness pool is really going to be those P4 schools. And these other conferences and the conference commissioners are basically saying to Congress and the judge and all the people that are listening, we will not be participating. So let's understand 2027, we're going to have a professional division. I mean, the lines are being clearly drawn. Professional division, P4 schools will go on their way. The G5 or all the other mid-major, whatever we want to call them, schools will go their way. And then we'll have NCAA Division II, which is not going to be changing in Division III. Division II, roster size, 36. I had a question from a parent yesterday asking me about NCAA Division II scholarships and roster limits. NCAA Division II roster limit 36, but a lot of Division II schools have JV or development teams. We've heard Florida Southern. We heard from Barry when Coach Young was there last year at Barry University, which is part of the Sunshine State Conference. So NCAA Division II, 9 scholarships spread amongst 27 athletes, 36-man rosters, but they are able to field JV or developmental teams. So you could be walking into a Division II program that has 70 athletes, 80 athletes. It's very important. When I'm working with families, when I'm talking with student athletes and parents, I always ask them, is it important for you to be within a program that has a finite number as far as roster is concerned? In Division II and Division III, not so much Division III, but Division II, Franklin Pierce, a school in Rindge, New Hampshire, when my buddy Jay King was the coach there, used to have 80 to 85 athletes, and they had a JV team and a development squad. Boy, that's a tough road to hoe. And parents, you need to be understanding the potential ramifications when your athlete shows up on campus. And there's 85 athletes, and half of those, or more than half, are on the JV team, and then the other half are on the varsity. NCAA Division III, for the most part, they carry, I would say between 35 and 40 athletes. There is no scholarship money, but there's a lot of merit, grant, financial aid that basically equates to anywhere from 40 to 60%. In some cases, non-repayable loans. I don't know why we don't call them scholarships, but we call them non-repayable loans. So it's important for parents to understand that moving forward with recruiting, it's going to work like this. Now, I am going to take the time to show you, and I have removed the coaches' names. It is not important who these are from. They come to me on my phone. I am not going to share the schools. So you will have to take softball. Okay, I like softball. We are going to be talking softball in a second. Okay, so here's what I want you to understand. I want to bring this up to you, and I want to see if I can. I'm going to give me a second here, and I'm going to. All right. Hopefully you can see this. If somebody in the chat could just tell me if you can see this or not, that would be really greatly appreciative. If you can, please. Can you see this right here? Anyone at all? Can anybody in the chat? Jeff, Jake, Andrew, Keith, can anybody see what I have on my screen right now? Can't see the share screen. Okay, so I'm going to close this for a second. And I am going to basically put it up like I did before. So that's so much for that technology. Can you see it now? Nancy, can you see it now? Can anybody see it now? Let's see. David W. Not yet. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to pull it up here and I'm going to show you. Okay, this is for parents, and I'm going to block this out. And I hope that you can see this. I have been on the phones today talking to parents and coaches. For us, and probably most top 25 NAIA programs, I would say we are looking for experienced transfers first. With the reduction in roster size in D1, we are aware of the number of really good D1 experienced transfers that are coming soon. It's just not experience on the field. Many of those students have proven themselves academically and socially as well. After that, for high school seniors, we want good students, winning programs, toolsy with upside. Strength is the magic bullet for getting on the field sooner. Lastly, parents with a history of drama with coaches are probably a red flag for us. Now, I showed that to you because, and now I want to see from another coach. I want to show you what I get. This is what I get when we start to get, and I'm going to hide this. And the reason why I'm showing this to parents tonight is I really think it's important for you to see the reality of what we're getting. So you got it, Walter. We have 3 scholarships available for 3 pitchers, at least 1 left-hander and maybe 1 left-handed bat. So what I want you to understand is this. College baseball recruiting is changing. It's forever changing. It's not going back to the way that it used to be. I don't say that to scare people. I just say that because right now your timelines are all filled with NCAA settlement, NCAA changes, and in reality, what is happening is the coaches are essentially saying to all of us, we want older, stronger, faster, more mature mentally and physical players that can come in, compete right away to make our program better. That's not just Division I NCAA. That's not just Division I NAIA. I talked with John today at East Stroudsburg, talked to Chris Schenk at Southern New Hampshire. I've talked to lots of coaches in the Division II landscape, Rick Odette at Florida Southern. They all say the same thing. Now, you may be thinking, well, we'll just all go to Division III. Well, I can promise you, guys like Eric Sorella at Salve Regina, Matt Noon at Babson. I've talked to Anna Maria. I've talked to Nichols. I've talked to Coast Guard. I've talked to Southern Maine. I've talked to people at Keene State. They all know that it's about to start raining athletes. So you as parents of the 2025, the 2026, the 2027s, first of all, if you're the parent of a 27, which is a current sophomore, or a 2028, a current freshman, please, please do not think, do not worry, do not concern yourself over college baseball. Make your student athlete focus on school, strength, size, speed, and skill. Focus on the grades, the strength, because that is the magic bullet. That came from a Division I coach. Size, foot speed, and skill. Skill that comes from self induced repetitions, get your work in without a coach, without an instructor, without a team. 25 and 26, there is no need to panic. The quality and the caliber of play unilaterally across all divisions of college is going up. I don't know if you've spent any time going to college games. I strongly encourage you, if you live in one of the NCAA D3 regional areas or D2 regional areas, I encourage you to go watch games. If you have any junior college regionals in your area, go. Division I is wrapping up. The final weekends of conference play are wrapping up. Conference championships will occur over Memorial Day, and then we'll be into regional season. When I talk to parents and I'm working with families and I'm sitting down with student athletes, I ask them about the scale of 1 to 5. How bad do you want this? Because if we get right down to the nitty, we have to turn out the white noise, noise. There is no magic bullet. There is no one that can force feed an athlete into a program. You have to know what you as a family have to know what your parameters are. Your parameters are geographical, how far away from home, academically, what type of academics. Is there a focal point? Is there a liberal arts? Are you leaning more liberal arts as far as trying to be well-rounded? Is there a communications, law degree, pre-med, engineering, health science? Because you need to find the schools that geographically fit, academically fit, campus size, campus community, all that fits, and then the baseball. So what you want to do is round up a few schools and begin to see what the opportunities are. You need to have your high school coach, your travel coach, your instructor, somebody like what I do, somebody that's evaluated and said, okay, these calls are worth making, or those calls are not worth making. It's hard to hear an adult say, you're probably not going to be able to go to that school. But would you rather do that and help somebody get to where they want to be, as opposed to go someplace where they're just miserable? Now, I'm going to say this to parents because I have a lot of parents that have children 12 to 15 or 16. I want you to know one thing. The travel ball program that your student athletes participate in, not relevant. The mentors that coach your children, your student athletes at those ages, highly important. Make sure you're keeping the game fun. The athletes are learning the sport, creating a baseball IQ. And lastly, make sure they understand everything is competitive. We cannot, as parents, be, snowplow parents or whatever we're calling them. There's going to be disappointment. There's going to be competition. There's going to be obstacles. We as parents cannot always try to do a cleanup on aisle 1, cleanup on aisle 5. We have to allow athletes to understand what lies ahead is extremely, extremely competitive. And I want parents to know that if this is something that is important to them, as far as with regard to college or high school, I had a boy that never played in high school. He played for an all boys Catholic school, and there were like 300 or 400 boys at every tryout. He ended up being able to play Division I baseball, and he played on the Cape, but he had to overcome some obstacles. So as it pertains to the Division I settlement, it's probably not going to apply to the vast majority of student athletes at the high school level. Those athletes that are currently in college, there's going to be murky waters. The transfer portal is going to be extremely full. It's going to be extremely challenging to try and find a new home. I would encourage parents of athletes that are potentially going to enter the portal, do your homework before you go bouncing into an athletic director's office. Make sure you have all of your information. The coaching carousel is about to begin in another 2 weeks. It's very important for parents to be patient, very important for student athletes to be patient. College coaches that were assistant coaches become head coaches at mid-majors become head coaches at Power 4 schools. The G5 and the P4, there's going to be a line coming in 2026 and 27. I think 2025 and 2026 is going to be the learning curve. I think we're going to see a lot more litigation. We are, I don't think, anywhere close to a settlement at this point. I don't think the judge in Oakland, Judge Wilkin, I don't think the judge wants to penalize current college student athletes. I don't think they want to lose their scholarships. You know, and everybody thinks this is just a Division I athlete going from a school and their scholarships taken away. Well, let's just say you're a sophomore at Stanford or a sophomore at Duke or a sophomore at Wake Forest or Vanderbilt or where any school like that that is a Power 4 school, Cal Berkeley, Notre Dame. You know, Notre Dame has already come out and said they're not going to penalize their athletes. But let's say you're a basketball player, tennis player, golf, rowing, crew, and you get cut. Okay, well, yes, you're still in school, but you don't have a scholarship. If your family can't afford 80 to 90,000 or 70 to 80,000, you can't stay there. That's penalizing a student athlete. The judge is not going to do that. Now, I want to end on this note. I want to let everyone, and I'm going to check. I haven't checked. I've babbled. Softball. Okay, David, West Virginia has 13 2025 commits and 15 2026 commits, according to Perfect Game. How much of these new rules, David, those numbers will not even remotely be anywhere close. Perfect Game does not have accurate information. They have dated information that could go back months and months and months. Mark, thank you. Let's see, Librarian, thank you. Trevor, thank you. What are some of the highest academic Division II programs? What are the strength benchmark? Would you suggest athletes stay an extra year at an academic preparatory or postgrad school? Okay, let me start with Librarian. High-level academic Division II schools. Here in the Northeast, schools like Assumption, schools like St. Anselm's, St. Michael's, Brandeis. There are a lot of high-level academic Division II schools. One of the things that I always am very cognizant and aware of is Division II schools do the private schools and the state schools. The state schools are going to give out more money. The state schools will be able to offer more money. The private schools, like Assumption is a private school. Assumption is approximately 60,000 a year school, whereas a school like Southern New Hampshire might be 20 or 25,000. So those are, is a big discrepancy, and we need to understand that when we're making a decision. Bentley is also another one. Thank you, Micah. Great coach that just recently passed away. Bentley, tremendous accounting school, and very, very in Waltham, Mass. Bentley and Brandeis, two very competitive programs. Exactly, Florida State is a state school and it's very different than Miami. Miami is approximately 75,000. Miami just dropped the 2025 Postgrad Select Festival kid. I could go on and on. There's going to be a lot of high school athletes that on their Perfect Game profile may say that they're attending X university, but I'd be willing to bet that a lot of those athletes are going to fall to the transfer portal athletes that start to get cut. David, you're very welcome. I want to also get to Trevor asks a great question here. I mentioned this on Sunday. If I'm a 25 high school graduate or a 26 high school graduate, I really start to do some homework on gap year, post-grad year. Now, a gap year is much different than a post-grad year. Gap year is done at any four-year school. A lot of this was done by a lot of the higher level academic schools that they encouraged high school athletes to study a year abroad, find themselves, mature, time management skills, kind of get a fresh perspective on life, and then enter college 1 year later, another year wiser. A gap year, you could do that. It's not going to harm anyone. There's no set rules that say you have to attend college immediately after leaving high school. That being said, I encourage with those that I work with, we're either going to be doing JUCO, or we're going to be doing online classes. Arizona State does great online classes. Southern New Hampshire does great online classes. A lot of colleges and universities offer online classes. That's simply a suggestion. You can look into, particularly if you're a 2026 and a 2027, this is not reclassing. Post-grad is not an extra year of high school. Now, I've done a whole series of this that's on my YouTube channel, and it is available for parents to watch. And I strongly suggest that you educate yourself with regard to the academic benefits of the post-grad year. It's like becoming a college student before you actually have to become a college student. When the question is asked, as Trevor has asked it, if you are a family, or more importantly, a student athlete that believes, wants, desires a strong academic college experience, or academics play a significant role within your, not only your intended major, but potentially graduate degree profession, i.e. engineer, pre-med, pre-law, that type of major, then a post-grad school on your resume, future resume, is going to carry significant weight. You're creating a whole network for your future, with regard to your student population, your faculty. It's a global experience. You're attending a school, very prestigious schools for the most part. I encourage you to look up Founders League, ISL, which is the Independent School League that has Lawrence Academy, Groton, Brooks, Roxbury Latin, Nobles Greenboro, Rivers, St. Sebastian's. Then you have the NEP, NEP, SAC, NEP, SAC, Phillips Andover, Phillips Exeter, Dexter, Deerfield. If you look up some of these schools, you look at the acceptance rate and where the graduates go to, they're largely, for the most part, for those families and student athletes that have a strong desire for academic orientated colleges or universities. Let's see. Cheshire Academy, yes, in Connecticut, very good post-grad school. Exactly correct. As far as strength metrics, I just had a parent send me a message, and I wanted to work with that for a second. Strength metrics. I think it's incumbent upon families to really go watch a practice in the fall, or as I alluded to, go see a game. When I say strong, a lot of people interpret that as 6'3", 220 pounds, could be 5'6". Now, I'm going to bring up a student athlete, and I want everybody that finds their way to this, and I'm going to give a shout out to his mom, CJ Rigi, 5'7", maybe 5'8", maybe. But he is a big, strong 5'8". He is the Patriot League Player of the Year, a really, really good division, Bucknell, Lafayette, Lehigh, Army, Navy, etc. And he is the Player of the Year in the Patriot League regular season champ, Holy Cross Crusaders in Worcester, Mass. He went to Phillips Andover. And my point of telling you that is he got ahead of the curve real quick, and he knew, look, I am an infielder. He now plays right field. And he played third base in high school, and he gets onto the diamond. He makes things happy happen. He impacts a baseball with his bat because of his strength. So strength is not measured by bench press or squat. It's measured in consistency of a program, a strength program, over a lengthy period of time. You know, just because you can get underneath some weight and move it around doesn't make you strong. You have to do it consistently, in season, out of season, off season, etc. And when you do that, you're going to find that your skill sets are going to be enhanced. So I want parents to understand college recruiting services, travel organizations. I had a college coach tell me today they are now going into team summer camps for teams. So they are having camps they're inviting certain teams so that they can see athletes competing against other similar athletes on the field of play in front of all the college coaches. That's going to be the brand. It's always been prevalent, but now it's going to be even more prevalent. You're going to start to see that over the summertime as travel baseball begins to recreate itself. Travel baseball is going to have to recreate itself. And I want all those people that think I don't like travel baseball, couldn't be further from the truth. Could not be further from the truth. But parents, when you're spending money, if you're doing so that your son or your daughter can have a great time and have some fun and you don't take it that seriously, that's great. But if you think your 8 to 14-year-old student athlete, because they play for some organization, is magically going to transform your student athlete into a college caliber player, don't believe the hype. It's simply not true. It's just not true. What your student athlete is doing from the age of 13 forward, is going to determine whether they play as a high school athlete and then obviously as a college athlete. School, strength, size, speed, skill. Put them in any order that you want, but that's the order you have to put them in. What are your thoughts on blast motion metrics? I like anything that has to do with feedback of the baseball, not just the object in your hand, meaning I like to understand what the bat's doing on the pathway to the baseball. Blast motion has really good feedback for your athlete to be able to see that they're getting better. I also want to give you as parents something. Let's say you're a parent and I don't know how many parents out there have a hack attack, a jugs machine, anything along those lines. But if you do and you're using the Pro Line ball, I want to give you something that came back to me this week, and I want parents to read this. The Pro Line ball works really well in jugs and the light flight machine or the hack attack. Cole said they travel more like real baseballs. On slider and curve setup, they break down, whereas the jugs are knockoff foam balls that don't have true ball flight. They float up a bit because they're so light. So if you're going to start doing self reps, catching reps, hitting reps, you want to always train with game speed. There's no such thing as game speed at soft toss or tee work or flips. You want to work at game speed. That's how you get better. And the only way to simulate game speed is with a ball, and you want to make sure you can prevent or limit injuries. And so the Pro Line ball, it's soft enough where it's not going to hurt anyone if you foul it off, or if you're catching a ball in your glove and you don't get that jam shot in your thumb. Just something to think about. I get a lot of parents that ask me about the Pro Line balls. I wanted to throw that out there. Copper State, thank you very much. So I'm going to wrap this up by saying thank you to everyone. I want to really let you know a couple of things. On Tuesdays, this is what we do. Thursdays, we do our Coach's Corner. We will be doing member-only webinars for those parents with regard to college recruiting. But parents, more than anything, I wanted to talk to you tonight to really say to you, slow your process down. Slow it down. I'm going to speak to you totally off the cuff and from the heart. This is a one-way trip. Now, some of you that have seniors and juniors, you're excited and you're anticipating high school graduation, but this is really the final frontier. When my boys went off to college, there wasn't as much engagement, father and son. You're part of a college team, you become part of a fraternity, and the interaction daily dissipates. And then it becomes when you're able to get to the games and you're able to give them a hug, and you don't see them as often. And you're not really an active participant, you're more of a permanent spectator. And so, what I would like to encourage parents to do is embrace and enjoy your now. Enjoy your now. My youngest son just had a baby girl, so I now have two grandsons and a granddaughter. I'm 62 years old. When I walk on the fields that I used to play at, or when I walk on the fields where I watch my sons where they played when they were children and then when they were teenagers, I do have fond memories. I do have some still photos, but you're actually living this. And I need you to understand that your athletes will get to where they work and want to go, where they work and want to go. And you will have the experience if you're prepared and you create your plan. But you have your high school graduations coming up. Most of you have already had your proms. These videos, I try to share a little bit more each and every week, but I can get a sense that a lot of parents and more importantly, athletes are nervous. And the high school athletes, yes, this will be kind of a cloudy, stormy period, but we can get through this. You can get through this. You have to prepare for it. Those athletes that are in the portal, they may be one or two steps ahead of you, but talent always prevails. So do not quit. Do not stop working. You have to understand, you just have to take a different route or a different time parameter, but it's always going to be there if you continue to work and you're consistent and you're persistent with regard to your goals. So parents, thank you for taking the time to watch. I would encourage and I would appreciate on your way out, leave me a comment, engage with the video, tell me what your thoughts are. You don't like it, you liked it, you'd like to see me answer other questions. Please subscribe if you can. Share the channel with those within your baseball community. I appreciate the feedback. I look forward to this Thursday. We'll be talking to Kevin Griffin, father of Pirates first round draft pick, 9 overall, Connor Griffin, who's now with the Pittsburgh Pirates in Bradenton and A-ball. Kevin is in the regionals for Belhaven NCAA Division III softball. Nancy, you're very welcome. Trevor, you're very welcome. David, you're very welcome. So I want parents to know that we're going to continue to talk to the college coaches. Now, the other thing I want parents to know, I'm going to tease this because I think it's really great. If you're the parent of a pitcher, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to want to miss. When I talked to Brett Saberhagen, 2-time Cy Young Award winner, drafted out of high school by the Royals. Brett is a really, really candid, knowledgeable guy, not just because he won 2 Cy Youngs and he spent over 16 years in the big leagues and he won a World Series and he was teammates with my childhood idol, George Brett. But I think pitchers are going to find that if you are doing simple things, it doesn't cost a lot of money. You don't have to travel great distances. You don't have to have a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. But you can do things in your own backyard, in your basement, in your school, in your gymnasium, things like that to help you become a better pitcher. And we're going to talk to Brett about that. And I'm really looking forward to that. We will see you on Thursday when we talk to Kevin Griffin, Belhaven softball. And I look forward to talking with you again next Tuesday for our Pro Line Balls live Q&A.